scale model of our solar system, and I asked, if possible, for you to grab a strip of cash register tape, about 1 meter long, but give or take. If you didn't have a chance to do that, don't worry about it. Just try to follow along. I think, and Sue Ann, are you shipping them some in their toolkits?
I shipped them out yesterday.
Woo! And there's cash register tape in them?
There is, and dots, and markers, and Play-Doh, and all kinds of different. I turned around.
So you'll be getting some rolls of cash register tape in your toolkits that'll be arriving probably early next week. So that's exciting. This strip of cash register tape is going to become our solar system, okay? And what it's going to be is a scale model of the distances between the orbits of the planets and other objects in our solar system. So hey, if you have your cash register tape, I recommend you follow along and do this together with me. So you're going to label one end of the cash register tape as the sun. And you can just write them in, or, sometimes we like to use stickers for this. And we kind of have two camps at the ASP, the pro sticker camp and the anti-sticker camp, but I do like the stickers. So on one end, you could put a big yellow sticker.
And converted from being pro sticker to anti-sticker.
I go back and forth, I do. And you're going to label that as the sun. And you want to do it right up on the edge of your tape, because it's going to get kind of tight in there later on. Anyway. And then the other end, you could label as Pluto. And you see this on the slide also. And if you want, you could put a little dot there as well. So we've got Pluto, or you could, right, so you can also talk about Pluto marking the edge of a region of our solar system called the Kuiper Belt. And you can definitely get into discussions about why Pluto is not a planet. I don't want to take up too much time right now, but it is exciting that Pluto was the first in a brand new category of objects in our solar system. So I think it's a good thing and not bad for Pluto. So take your cash register tape and take Pluto and fold it up to the sun, and then crease it in the middle. Wait, what did I do here? So put a crease right there in the center. Whoops. Ah, I gave it away. What do you think goes in the center there? Which planet goes on that center mark? And you know what? I just realized that you're all muted, and I'm going to go ahead and unmute you.
Want me to do that?
I could do it. So I'm unmuting you now. Shout out if you have any guesses as to what would be about halfway between the sun and Pluto.
Jupiter.
Jupiter, good guess. And that's a common guess, because if you list out the planets, which is something I'll often do at the start of this activity, Jupiter will be right there in the middle of the list, right? Any other guesses?
So are you saying that because you saw her slide, or was that your guess all along?
Well, the answer is Uranus. And a lot of people, does anyone find that surprising?
I did.
Why?
Jupiter?
Why is it surprising?
I would have expected Uranus to be much, much closer to the Pluto head sun.
Right, because how many planets are there between Uranus and Pluto?
Just the one.
Just the one, yeah, just Neptune. So, okay, so let's get to Neptune then. Take your cash register tape, fold it in half again, Pluto to the sun, and then fold it in half again and crease it in the center. And if you do this with kids who are like 3rd grade they love to show off their knowledge of fractions. So now we have the 1/4 mark and the 3/4 mark. I didn't put Uranus in there. So we know what goes on that 3/4 mark between Uranus and Pluto. What is it?
Neptune.
Neptune, that's right. It's the only option. And then any guesses what goes on that 1/4 mark? Here's my Neptune label. Any guesses what goes on that 1/4 mark between the Sun and Uranus?
Saturn.
Earth.
Earth, Saturn. Any other guesses? All right, well, Saturn is an excellent guess, and that is the one. Now, is anyone surprised by this? How many planets are there between Saturn and Uranus? Anyone?
0.
Zero, right. There are no planets between Saturn and Uranus. So let's take a look. I've got my Sun down here. And then Saturn. And then we keep going. Uranus. Neptune. And Pluto. And all the way from Saturn out to Pluto, we're all set. There's nothing else to go in there. So we've used up 3/4 of our cash register tape for only 3 planets plus Pluto. How many do we have left? How many planets do we have left to fit on that 1/4 section from the Sun out to Saturn? We've got 3 plus Pluto.
5.
5 more, right. Okay, so now you don't have to keep folding up your entire register tape. You can just take the Sun and fold it up to Saturn, like this, and make a crease. And what fraction are we at now? If we fold the 1/4 section in half.
8.
1/8. You guys know your fractions. Good job. Okay, any guesses what goes on that 1/8 mark between the Sun and Saturn?
Earth.
Earth. That's a good guess because that would be kind of right in the middle of that list. Any other guesses?
Jupiter.
Jupiter. That's it. It is. It's Jupiter. And often when I go through this, every time I ask for a guess, they guess Jupiter from the first fold to the second fold to the third fold, and they're so excited when they finally guess right. It's time to guess Jupiter. I didn't label it. Okay, and how many planets between Jupiter and Saturn?
0.
0, right. So we only have that 1/8 left to fit how many more planets?
4.
4 more have to fit on there. So now we can take the Sun and fold it up to Jupiter and make another crease for what fraction?
1/16.
1/16. Yeah. Any guesses what goes on that 1/16 mark between the Sun and Jupiter?
Mars.
Good guess, but that's not it.
Venus.
This is actually kind of a trick question. Now remember, we're not just including planets, but also other objects.
Asteroid belt.
Yeah, it's the asteroid belt. And if you want to keep going with the dwarf planet theme, we could also talk about Ceres, which is a dwarf planet in the asteroid belt. So.
Which, at the time of its discovery, it was described as a planet. And then as more in that region were discovered, they changed it to an asteroid. It was redefined as an asteroid. And now it's been redefined again as a dwarf planet.
Right. So Pluto was not the first planet to be demoted, but I don't really like that term. But it's happened to many planets who have been reclassified. So at one time, didn't we have 14 planets or something in our solar system? So it's really nothing new. At this point, Pluto's kind of old news, but it does keep coming up. Okay, so now let's take the sun and fold it up to the asteroid belt. What do you think goes on that one? And what fraction are we at now? 1/16 folded in half?
Wow, 30 seconds.
130 seconds.
1/30 seconds. What goes on that mark, do you think? Guesses?
Are we at Mars now?
We are at Mars. Very good. And now I'm going to start using little dots instead of big dots. So we've got Mars. And now things are getting a little tight. How many more planets do we have to fit on that 1/32 of our register tape?
3.
3 more, yeah. And what you can do now is fold the sun up to Mars, and then don't open it up yet, and then fold that section in half again and crease it again. And then when you open it up, there should be 3 creases. I don't know how well you can see that. And so you can just go ahead and label those as the remaining 3 planets. So going towards the sun from Mars, first we'll have what?
Mercury.
Oh, going out from the sun, right, we'll have Mercury, and then
Venus,
and then
Earth,
our favorite planet. Yay! And then we get to Mars. So there I've labeled those. It's pretty tight in there. I use a particularly long piece. If you use like a meter long piece, it'll get pretty tight in there and they'll all be crammed together. So now let's open up our register tape and take a look and see what, if you did it along with me, this is where you can take a look, but what do we notice? Are there any surprises? You know, what do you think about this? Anyone?
Seems like it gets farther every time from one planet to the next.
Yeah, there's a lot of space between some of the planets, right? They're really spaced out there. But what about these planets closer to the sun?
They're all crowded in.
Yeah, they're all kind of crowded in. Now, they're still really far apart from each other, but in comparison. So what's the difference? Are there any different properties between these planets close in and these that are farther away and spread out?
What they're made of?
What they're made of, yep.
their size.
What's this size?
Their size, yeah. So we've got the small rocky planets in here towards the sun, and then the big gas giants that are spread out farther away.
So
Good.
Anna, I have a question. These are reasonably accurate markings for the planets. Isn't that right? I find it remarkable that the planets are organized on these, fractional distances like that. That's really cool.
Yeah, this is really pretty accurate. I mean, Pluto, the distance of Pluto from the sun varies greatly because it has a very eccentric orbit. So sometimes it's actually in closer than Neptune.
This is an
But
average.
this is based on the average distance of Pluto.
And for all the others, it's really close.
Yeah. Now, some things you can talk about. The planets aren't ever going to be all lined up like this. Remember, this is the distance to the orbits. You could use your tape to draw out the circles of the orbits, and the planet could be anywhere on that circle. These dots, of course, are not at all representing the scale of the size of the planets. It's just big dots for big planets, small dots for smaller planets. But we're not talking about size here at all, and you would not see any of the planets on this scale. They'd be too small. If I'm using a 1 meter register tape, mine was a little bit longer. How far away do you think is the nearest star? Anyone have any guesses? Take a wild guess. How far away do you think the next star would be?
A mile.
That's a good one, a mile. Any other guesses?
5 kilometers.
You guys are good. It would be 7 kilometers or 4.2 miles away. But you were like on the right order of magnitude. Some people think on the other side of the United States, or some people say 10 feet. So yeah, it'd be about 4 miles away. And if you were doing, if you were doing this with a group of kids, you could maybe look at a local map and think about what is actually 4 miles away. Great. So there's other things you can get into with discussion on this one. I don't want to take up too much more time, but we will post the write-up of this activity and even a short video that shows you how to do it so you have a refresher.
Your Scholars version is a little modified, so I've got those. I sent them write-ups in your little boxes of goodies too. One thing that we do in our version is to use the other side of the tape and a pencil first to have the kids predict where the planets would go. And then they use the side to do the folding and put the stickers on so that they can compare really quickly what they thought beforehand of what the actual one is.
Great. Okay.
And I just wanted to add one other little comment about this activity and one of the reasons I love it. There's lots of different scale models of the solar system that you can do. And like I love the one that's at NRAO in Green Bank where you actually walk that huge distance. And that gives you kind of this visceral feel like, oh my gosh, I'm walking and walking and walking and walking and, when am I going to get to the next one? What I like about this one is that you can just look at it all at once. You can see it in its entirety. So it gives you the entire solar system at a glance, where those other ones give you a sense for the vastness in between these outer planets by really having to take a hike. Yeah. And so it gives you a slightly different perspective on those distances.
The Earth as a Peppercorn, if you've not checked that out, is a classic where both size and distance are to scale, and you use common, mostly kitchen items to represent the planets. Obviously, a peppercorn for the Earth, and then nuts and seeds and other things for the other planets.
Yeah.
And that's where you walk about a half a mile to get to Pluto.
And I think that's the scale of yours, isn't it, Sue Ann?
No, it's a little bigger than that. It's about 1.5 miles down to the Pluto.
Oh. Okay.
We scaled it so that the Earth's orbit, if it orbited around the sun, that the radius of that orbit would be the radius of the GBT dish.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Very cool.
Great. So I think now we're going to move on to the sort of action plan. Is that correct?
Yeah. We just wanted to have and you can just leave your screen up so that the recording will work.
Okay.
we thought we'd have a little discussion with you all today about using what you've been doing with the Skynet Junior Scholars web portal and the Skynet telescope with your youth. And I'll kick it off, but I'd like to really have you all kind of lead this part of the discussion and ask some questions here. So in the little flyer that supposedly started you on this journey of signing up for Skynet Junior Scholars, we ask that you commit to work with a group of from middle school up, and to do an exploration with those youth as part of Skynet Junior Scholars, which is sort of the minimum that we ask for in order for you guys to be accepted into the program. And an exploration, you've been through the initial exploration. So you've investigated filters, and you've investigated exposure time and all of those tools of Skynet Junior Scholar. So Become a Skynet Junior Scholar is considered an exploration. And in the very near future, you'll start to see some new activities pop up about comets and asteroids and stars and things like that if students want to pursue those. We'd like to have from you, before the end of the workshop, a short action plan that tells us how you're thinking of incorporating Skynet Junior Scholars into programming that you already do with youth, or perhaps in a club environment if you're a scout leader or a 4-H leader. A lot of you mentioned earlier that, you told us, well, you were going to do it maybe as part of a camp or something like that. A little bit of information, but we'd really like to have a little bit more information, number one, so that we can be available to help you if you need us in administering, the online environment if you run into snags with that, or just to provide you with mentors ourselves or other Skynet scientists. So at the bare minimum, we hope that we want every Skynet Junior Scholar to learn how to use the tools that we've made available, and that really is what we have going on with the Become a Skynet Junior Scholar, is that part. What you're going to undertake starting now is a little project where you take more control. You're not just filling in the blanks. You're taking more control and trying to investigate the question that you've come up with yourself. Anyway, I thought maybe we could just open it up for some questions and thoughts, maybe about how you think you might use what you've been learning with youth as part of this program. So I'll hush up here, see if anybody has.
This is James. I have one question. Do you recommend having multiple smaller, easier to obtain projects, or one big project that the entire group is working on?
Well, that's a great question. So the initial activities that you do to become a Skynet Junior Scholar, I think that either working together or if kids are working in pairs or whatever, that's okay. But I think that everybody needs that familiarity with the tools, right, with the Skynet tools. So I would imagine individual scholars with their accounts going through those activities to get the hang of using the telescopes. But beyond that, if you were working on one giant project to do, let's see, was that James? That was Tom, maybe, that said, well, I want to try to take pictures of lots and lots of galaxies and see if I can correlate size and brightness and distance together. That could be a project that your whole club could do if you wanted to. So we're kind of loosey-goosey about this because 4-H groups meet in a variety of ways. You might have a club where you only get together once a month, and maybe 3 or 4 of your kids want to do this for their annual project. You might be in an after-school setting where you meet once a week, in which case the whole group that's interested in astronomy could pursue a project. together, and you might be in a museum where you're running a camp, or at a park where you're running a camp, and you'd have the kids there every day, and this might be part of a larger astronomy, camp that you're holding. So I really see that you can fulfill, the requirements of being part of SJS in a lot of ways. There's a lot of leeway there, and we're really interested in seeing how you do that, what variety of ways actually happen. So, James, that's a wishy-washy answer, except for to say that, yes, you could do a whole group project after the kids have gone through those beginner activities to learn how to use the site and request it. That sort of
This is Meg, and
really
as a follow-up question to that.
thing.
Sure. I was just going to say we don't have a recommendation at this point because you guys are our pilot users.
Sorry about that, but you guys are helping us in more ways than just, being part of the project. You're actually sort of helping craft it in a way. So, Meg, what were you going to say?
Well, just as a follow-up question to that, do you have an idea, since we are actually starting a club, do you think it would be better to have like 2 weeks of every day, or once a week for the whole summer, or once a month? Do you have any idea what might sustain interest more?
Well, let's take a step back and think about how you need to modify things depending upon how you wanted to do it. If you were meeting once a week like we are, we're virtual, but we're still meeting once a week, that gives a week in between to get images back and do some things with the images. If you were meeting every day, then you would be requesting images and maybe also using images that are within your own folders or within the sample images to do some of that, image processing and things like that. So it has to be modified based upon your meeting schedule. So I don't know, did you find that meeting once a week and having a sort of a exploration to do in between as a grown-up, did you find that was sustaining your interest enough, or was it too slow or too fast as a pace for the professional development?
Well, personally, I'm a work-to-a-deadline kind of person, so knowing that I had to have something done by a time makes me do it.
Right. So in a sense, then, with kids, if they also are in that mode, maybe a week or two camp would be really good, especially if you supplement it with the hands-on activities, and we're totally willing to throw a lot more of those your way. ASP's got quite a treasure trove of very cool, easy demos and hands-on activities that can supplement the actual Skynet image processing that goes on. So, yeah.
James, I have another question. What if we wanted other images that are out there that have been recorded by other astronomers or something like that, how would we go about getting copies of that for the students to use?
There are ways to get those images, but it's hard to get those images into a folder that you could access online. But there are ways to download those images if you wanted to use Astro Image Processor. And we can also talk to our programmers about putting images in those places. But there are a lot of images in the sample files, right, Vivian, that are really great.
Yeah, I was going to say, we purposely in Afterglow allowed you to see a whole slew of images that were taken by the whole SJS collaboration, plus the workshop group, and I'm not sure if the Yerkes group is in there. But so James, are you saying other images that we took with Skynet telescopes, or other images like from the Hubble archives, or other archives? I think I think nearly anything is possible, but so if you think you know what you want, it would probably take us some time to make it happen. But we've talked to the programmers about the idea that there might be other professional telescope archive images that we might want to look at. It didn't seem impossible, but we have quite a list of things for the programmers to do. So, but if there's other images in the whole, or if you know what kind of image set you're looking for, we can probably find it in the Skynet system.
Yeah, and look at the sample images too. They go along with UNC created an online sort of course for grown-ups to take or college students to take. They call it Skynet University, and it's a MOOC, a massively online course. There's two U's in there, two O's.
Yeah, it's open online
maybe.
course. So it's kind of open enrollment.
Yeah, it's called Skynet University, and we'll point you to some links there too. But the images that they've collected for those labs are they're good ones, and we've been using them a lot to learn more about Skynet too. Catherine been using them to do some asteroid work, and just so they're good images for some activities that you might want to modify for kids. But one of the goals for Skynet Junior Scholars really is, and I know it's tough, but we want eventually, as we hope that students will, some of them will get really interested in this and want to continue on beyond just whatever program you run, and they're allowed to do that, and that they will start to come up with their own ideas for collecting data and finding out things about the universe. So that's why even though we're compressed here in 6 weeks, we're trying this do your own project idea out with you guys. We want that to happen.
This is Mary. I was having an idea we were talking about. We were going to do a summer day camp that would probably be like 3 days. But I'm thinking, to me, what has hooked me is that you get your own image back. And then you're hooked because that's something that you're connected to. So I just had an idea. I wondered if we might be able to have some kind of a or orientation afternoon or something where we could let them request some images, and then we would know by the time that we did the camp they would have their own.
That's good. That's a good idea. And then, of course, they can continue on and request more images you will have in that camp time. Kind of show them how to do the work and
how they can work with them once they're there. But I guess I'm just afraid they wouldn't get any of their own during our camp.
Right. So how far in advance do kids sign up for your camp? I mean, do you know who they are? A couple of weeks in advance, or
yes.
Show up?
We would have like a deadline. Our camp isn't until August, so we're going to go ahead and announce it actually about now.
One thing I was going to try with my campers is there were a couple of times using Skynet where I would request an image from Australia in the morning, and I could collect it by the end of the afternoon. So you might even get lucky with that if you have the kids request an image early in the day. And the other thing I was thinking, worst case scenario is you've had them make the request during the day at camp. They could always be emailed their image afterwards, and that's still their image.
Right, and they'll have, one of the things we'll talk to you about today, and we'll do that very shortly, is you'll be creating. We created accounts for you. So you have an account on Skynet now. You don't have to stop requesting images after this workshop's over. We hope you don't. And you're going to create an account for the kids in your camp or whatever the group is that you're going to be working with. And so as long as they're active and they'll stay a member of the Skynet Junior Scholars Program and can continue on too. So they'll be able to access their images through Afterglow and through their My Observations page, just like you are. Are there questions or thoughts? From the lovely panel of webcams over here on my left, do you have others?
I guess I have another question as long as you have time. Are we going to have a limited number of time on the telescope, or will we be able to request pretty much as many images as we need?
So you notice that the activities themselves say you've been awarded so much time, and it seems as if we need to up that a little bit just to make you comfortable with using that time. So you will be granted a block of time to allocate to your group members. And, as you run out of time, you just request more time, and we'll give you more time. So but you'll be the one that sort of, if you've got 5 members, you could allocate it equally, or you could save some back so that you can give more to people that are being really active and requesting a lot of images, however you choose to do that. But you'll have time to allocate yourself to the kids. So that sounds like a good segue, Vivian. I can't hear you, though. I think you're muted.
Let's see. Can you hear me
Okay.
now?
Gotcha.
Okay. Okay, great.
There you go.
Okay, so are you going to transfer the presenter tool to me?
Oh, yes, I'll do that right now.
Okay. So,
I did it, Anna, since I was the presenter.
Okay. So can you see this? Can you see my presentation? Let's see if I can see if you can see it.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, but it's too big, isn't it?
Nope, it's perfect.
Okay. Okay, so this is a presentation about how to create your group member accounts and distribute telescope time. And yes, that was a perfect segue. So, let's see. Okay, I'm just seeing how I advance here. Okay, now can you see this? Is this working out so you can see verifiable parental consent at the top, or is it cut off a little?
No, it's perfect.
Okay. Okay. So so now, in a week you guys will be graduated, and you may be wanting to get started with youth. So one of the requirements and responsibilities that you have is to create accounts and to make sure that you have parental consent for these accounts with the youth. So you'll have to figure out how to do that, but that's in your list of responsibilities. So we'd like you, on the Skynet Junior Scholars page, there is a privacy policy. We would like the parents to read that privacy policy. We'd like you to have some kind of confirmation of parent permission, that you would keep on file. And, this could be an email confirmation, or it could be something that you make up in terms of a form. And then the next thing, well, even before that, and soon we'll perhaps give you a survey monkey so that you can give us this information, but we need to create the Skynet group for you. So we will need to have a name that's associated with your organization. For example, I made this up, WI4H Kane 1, so that we recognize, okay, this is the Wisconsin 4-H group, in Kane County, or however that, make up suggest a name and for your group that makes sense for us to track it back to who you are. I mean, we'll know who this is, but I think maybe it could be helpful to have names for your groups that are associated with your organization. Okay, so once we create, you give us the name of your group, we create this Skynet group for you and make you the administrator of that group. So now you are going to be, you're going to have privileges and responsibilities. Okay, so please don't share your password. And if some of you I know have kids, and you may have shared your password with your kids or your colleagues or something. But if you've done that, please change your password. And there's a link there, and I do believe that this works these days. And if it doesn't, let us know. But with this administrator privileges, you'll be able to see profiles of your accounts, and we really want that to be kept confidential. Okay, any questions so far? All right, here comes I didn't leave you enough time to give me a question, but all right, so the next thing that you'll need to do, and you've all done this through the SurveyMonkey, and we'll just have to see if I was talking with one leader who said, oh, I can create a form to collect this information from the youth that I work with. But what you'll need is a username, and it can, like you all have usernames, and this can be a nickname or a code name. Now, if you have kids who are under 16, they cannot use their real name. And we do suggest that you have code names for everybody, so you don't have to keep that straight. But we don't want any real names of children who are under the age of 13, or we won't be complying with COPPA. It's the Child Online Protection Act. I'm not sure of actually the acronym for that, but anyway, something like that. You'll also need to collect first name and last name, create a password, and this is similar to what you did. We need, actually, this is something that I just learned this week, that you'll need an email that is unique to each username. So you can't, so if you have a brother and a sister, and they're young and they don't have an email, and you put in the parental email, you're going to have two different emails, one for each child. So there does need to be a unique email for each account. You'll need their birth date, and then we suggest also that you collect the parents' email and phone numbers so that you can stay in touch with them. And we'll make this PowerPoint available to you on the AFCU site so that you can refer to it. Okay, so once you have all that, this is what the form looks like on the Skynet site. So after I go through this presentation, we'll go to a live site so you can see where to find it all. But after you have your group, you will be able to manage your group on the side left panel. There'll be a group management window, and that's where you will find create account, manage members, and manage time. So this little screenshot shows you that you'll be inputting the username, the first name, the last name, the email, the passwords, and the birth dates. And then there is a option at the bottom that says prevent user from changing profile. And the reason we did that was because let's say you have a clever child that decides they want to change their birth date so that they're older, and I think kids do this for Facebook and stuff all the time. You want to make sure that if the child is under 13, especially, that they're not changing their birth date. That might make a difference in what they have access to at some point. So
that's
so this is kind of where we think if you have all of the information that you're going to put in there and then you prevent the child from changing their profile, you can go in and change you can go in and solve any like passwords or email problems yourself, but it'll prevent the kids from changing things that might put them in jeopardy. I know this is a lot to take in, but so then, okay, now you've got the account. Now you have the kids as members. Then you want to give them time. So this, you'll be able to go to the link for Manage Time, and it'll show you all the telescopes that you have time on with little links on the side that say Manage. And this, when you click on each telescope link, it takes you to your list of participants, and it allows you to give them time. So that link looks something like this. This is a group with just 2 members, and there's a little checkbox next to each of their names. And I can choose to give them time, and I can also take time back. So this is brand new because we've given a lot of people time, and some people have used a lot, and some people haven't used much. And so you can take back time from an inactive person and give it to somebody who's on a roll with their project, and then redistribute time. So that'll be useful. And that is it. So now I'm going to try to show you this reel. Okay, so here's an example of this same group, and let's say on RCOP they have 30 minutes of time. So if we go over here, and actually what's supposed to be here is a little pie chart, and for some reason it's not showing up. But that's because I don't think any time has been used. That's a little glitch. But for example, there, Brittany J., she doesn't have any time at all, thus she hasn't used any. The Yo Family login has 10 minutes of time, but they haven't used any. So let's give both of these, I can give both of these guys some time, and let's say I want to give, I have up here, you can see I've got 30 minutes to give away, so let's say that I want to give 10 minutes to both of these people. I can just do that. Put the amount of time I want to give and put it and click on the give button, and now Brittany has 10 minutes and Yo Family has 20. And then I realized, oh my, I gave too much time to Yo Family. If I want to take some away, I can also do it up here on the top, take time away from this member, but here if I can just do it right in the box here. Let's say I want to take away 5 minutes, and then I can reduce time. So is James on the call?
Yeah, he's on.
Yeah. So James, one of the things, I don't know if you noticed, at one point I gave you 4 hours of time on something because I was trying to give 4 hours to the group, and I managed to give it all to you. I don't know if you ever noticed that. But
yeah, I tried to use it, and then you took it away.
I know, I took it away yesterday. You should have been faster at using it, James. But anyway, so this is pretty nifty tools, I think, in order to be able to give time and take time from your members. So that's a little quick overview of what the tools are. Now, when you're actually ready to do this, you know, you might need some help, or you might just be able to sail through it because it's pretty intuitive. But if you need help, we're here to help you, and we'll be glad to work with you one-on-one, or you know, set up a web chat for the people that are starting, you know, a group in the summer or something like that. So now I'm going to go back where I can see all your faces and see if there's any questions from anybody. So, any questions or comments?
I'll just say that giving telescope time is a thing that happens in the professional astronomy world. Right now, we have a bunch of proposals that have come into the NRAO. We have a time allocation committee, and they are reading all the proposals and ranking them and seeing what telescopes should be best for them, and then they'll send a letter out to the astronomers that created the best proposal saying, you've been awarded so much telescope time. So if you build that in, you know, this sort of sense of well, I can, if you have a proposal for something you want to do, tell me what it is, and maybe the time allocation, some more telescope time. It's very much like what happens in the professional astronomy.
Yeah, maybe we should build a little template for that, Sue Ann, in the modules, because that is very real. Having a reason. I've done a lot of work providing images for teachers and kids, and using my time with telescopes to get those. And in that project, we actually had a place where people requested an object, but then they gave their reason. And so that was, that would make a difference in how much time that they got in terms of working on that project for them. So I think that's very valid. But I see everybody's unmuted, so if there's any questions, either this is overwhelming or looks incredibly simple. I'm not sure which.
Well, I
No,
think
it's
for
a
me,
lot of questions. Go ahead.
I just was going to say, I think for me, I probably won't run into the hurdles until I'm in the process of building a group and putting the time in and whatnot.
Right.
Here we can Skype with you or whatever when that time comes. You have access.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. I heard another
a lot of questions, but just
Yeah, I have a
how we
question
were going to administer this for our groups, and that really concisely put it together.
Thank you.
So,
This is Meg. I have a question.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, when the summer comes, what would be the best way to get in touch with you all as the support team? Is it going to be like the forum, the ASCU forum, or individual emails, or?
We
That's a really
have
good question.
a blanket email that goes to Vivian and myself and the folks at ASP and Catherine, and it is on the SJS site. Down at the bottom it says contact us, and I've actually made it forward to my regular email so that it's off there. But the forum will be a good place too. ASCU, we're thinking that most of the communication will happen on the Skynet Junior Scholars site after the professional development here. So we're working hard right now to make the forum better, that people will be more likely to use them. So we'll probably move over, not to this forum that you're seeing there on Vivian's screen, but the SJS Skynet Junior.
And we can help transition to that forum when it's ready to go. So we'll let people know when and how to start using it.
But for now, we're going to stay on after. We'll be on the ASCU forum. Get emails when you put a post in there, so then we'll get it.
And the nice thing about using the ASCU forum, and then later when it's ready, the SJS forum, is that other people can benefit to the answers to your questions because they can see those answers as well.
Yeah, so we have a
So is
forum
there a
here.
way to make it is there a way to condense the forum so that you don't get as many emails, so that you can just access it? It's not sent directly to you?
A daily digest, or you can get no emails. If you email me, Anna, I can set that up for you.
Okay, I think we have other things to do today yet, don't we, Anna? Or is that it?
Well, so you wanted to talk about the group projects. We are near the top of the hour. Were you just wanting to answer questions that people have?
Yeah. Everybody's a group project and their teammates, right? So the idea is for you all to find a way to work together, email each other, come up with your plan, and divide up some observing amongst yourselves there, and then bring those observations together to answer your question or to investigate your questions. So you've been assigned one of the staff as a mentor to help you, and you just need to figure out a way to communicate with each other. Sooner the better. We have a toll-free telecon number that we're more than willing to set up a group telephone chat if you'd like to have that. It's toll-free. So any questions about what has to happen between now and next week? You guys tell us. Anything that would be helpful that you wish we would do for every group or something like that to make it easy to practice group projects?
Are we supposed to places like try to find out what's already been done, or just do it by just trial and error? I mean, like having a literature search, like some of this is already done, but we just don't know how to do it.
Right, do it. You do it, and when you're going to talk about it, of course, referring back other data is always a good thing, but shouldn't project and make it active and take some data. Use the data that you find on the Skynet site. Well, that's absolutely it. Yeah, come up with an experiment.
We want fun with this too, so don't worry about it too much. Just like get out there, explore, propose some ideas, share them with the rest of your group. Scientists don't come up with the right answer in 7 days, so get started and have a good time with it, and see, use the opportunity to think with each other in order to feel more like you're doing science as a collaboration.
So there have been questions written there that Anna, is there anything in the chat box that we should deal with? I can't see it very well. I'm just seeing like one line at a time the way I have my things.
I've gotten to most questions. Kathleen says she needs as soon as possible so her after-school group can get started. She's ready to go.
Kathleen, you have a group. I made a group for you. We can get started on it right away, and then you can be the expert for the rest of your colleagues.
Okay.
So if there are further questions about the groups, ask those questions in the forum, in the AFCU forum for now. Let you know when you should transition over to the Skynet forum. And go ahead and dig in with your group project. If you're not sure where to start, just email to the whole group and get the communication started. You do have for your group, so yeah, as well.
So you probably want to have some ideas, images, by the weekend, so you can request in there and get that data back. Go ahead and dig in.
So I'm gonna steal another minute here. Sue-Ann has sent out your kits. You're gonna get a little you're gonna get an envelope from us as well, and in there is a tactile image, and it has Braille and raised images on here. So this is because our project is committed both to working with the general audience as well as blind and low vision kids and deaf and hard of hearing kids. So we wanted to share with you what the tactile images looked and felt like. So you'll be getting that from us.
By the way, we've loved your color images. They've been really, even though we're not going to look at them today. Anything else?
All right, thanks everybody. Have fun with your projects.